November 18th, 2021, 1:30 p.m. Beaufort County Airports Board. This meeting is being held virtually in accordance with Beaufort County Resolution 2020-05. We'll start off. I'd like to call the meeting to order. And we'd like to start with Pledge of Allegiance. If you so desire, please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, public notification of this meeting has been published and posted and distributed in compliance with the South Carolina FOA Act, Freedom of Information. First thing we need to do is approve the agenda. Everyone should have received that via the email. So I need a motion to approve the agenda for today's meeting. Chris Butler, do I have a second? Ann, second. Thank you. Next, we need to approve the minutes for the October 21st meeting, 2021. Again, you should receive those via email. Anybody's got any comments, questions, concerns, changes? Speak up now. If not, I'd like to ask for a motion to approve the meetings from the October 21st, 2021, 1:30 Beaufort County Board meeting, Airports Board meeting. Have a motion? Chris motions again. Thank you. Need a second? And Howard seconds. Thank you. Howard Ackerman. Number 6, public comment. We'll open up the floor to public comment. We ask that you limit this to 3 minutes for each person. If you need more time, ask for it, and the board will consider accordingly. So I'll go ahead and open up the floor. If any public comments, please just speak up, introduce yourself. All right, that was easy 6 items. Number 7, John Rimbold. I'd like to turn the floor over to the airport directors for his report. Go ahead, John, you got the floor.
All right, thank you. I'm going to start my PowerPoint and share my screen. So hang on just a second. Dive into this. All right, hang on. Got 37 screens open, so I have to pick the right one. All right, everybody see a PowerPoint showing up? Looks like it. Okay. Somebody say yes, because I can't see you.
Yes.
Thank you. All right. Welcome to November. Can't believe it's November of 2021 already, so start practicing right in 2022, I guess. Let's dive into this. We'll do the report, and then we do have some action items afterwards once we get into that. But let's review some of what's going on. All right, so terminal upgrades happening over at ARW, which is exciting. We'll get a little bit more from that probably from Paul as we go, but we're going to get that lobby project going. Terminal brief for Hilton Head. Still working on that final funding piece, but as you probably, unless you're living underneath a rock, you probably know the infrastructure bill got signed on Monday. There's a lot of money in that for airports, and the state of South Carolina, just within their allocation, has designated, I think it's $161 million for airports. So we are on the top of Senator Tom Davis's list, which is awesome. We don't know what that means as far as a dollar amount or a time frame for that, but we'll continue to work on that and keep everybody informed. So stand by. We've been doing a lot of work continuously on the terminal funding package. That was a big piece of the county council budget retreat that happened 2 weeks ago. And we had an opportunity to speak to both the finance committee during that retreat, which was unplanned, as well as the public facilities committee during that retreat, which was planned. So it was very good to get invited to the finance committee portion of that and brief the terminal funding plan. So we've got a couple of options. We're waiting to see what happens with some of that federal money that cycles through the state, as well as potential other angles of that federal money. So just standby to standby. All right, next is the ramp project. We'll show you some photos of that later on, but moving along pretty nicely. And we're excited about that. The airlines are excited, and we're getting to the point pretty soon where they'll actually have to do alternate pushback plans on their aircraft because the construction will be right up against the existing ramp. So that's good news. And then AIP grant approval. We'll talk about this in the action items. Actually, there won't be an AIP grant. But one thing to let you know about AIP grants, it's now county council policy, so county policy, that any grant application has to get approved by county council. So as you've seen in the past, and you see today by our action items, sometimes because of the timing and the scheduling of meetings, an item may go before the council's public facilities committee before it comes to the airports board. And that'll probably happen from time to time with these grants. But we'll try not to, but sometimes it'll happen. So just kind of stay in step with us on that. But county council will be approving grant applications as well as the grant acceptances as we move forward. And the biggest news we've got this month is a new airports administrative assistant. Natalie Numson is on board, and she came in just after the last board meeting. So she's been here, I guess this is her 4th week. Very excited to have her. She's got a great resume, great experience with doing a lot of corporate kind of executive assistant work, a lot of high-end travel planning and things like that she had to do for she worked up in New York City, which is awesome experience. So very excited to have her here. In case you're wondering what happened to Elena, she's still here, and she has moved over into more of a finance role, which is where her passions lie. So I think it's working out for everybody, especially as the airport takes on more of the finance role that the county used to do for us. But super excited to have Natalie on board. I can't wait for you guys to meet her. Very energetic, very fun to be around. So we are definitely lucky to have found her. So welcome aboard to Natalie. All right, we're going to zip through the stats here because you'll have this in your background or backup information that you're provided. You see that the fuel is good. Again, it's looking real good month over month as well as year over year. So still strong. And you'll see, let's see, oops, ARW here. Sorry, jumping back and forth here. Awesome month at ARW. Had a lot of traffic there, and it's been busy again this month. So we're just excited. A lot of people are finding out about it. I think I got to take my hat off to Chris and to Trey for really pushing. I guess it was about a year and a half ago now to tinker with the fuel prices for avgas. Let's jump back to that one. You can see that it's worked. If you go back to July of 2020, that's when we first made the change with avgas. So if you track the green bars through the end of 2020, and then you jump into 2021 and look at the blue bars with avgas, it's been an awesome 18 months. So it's working. The volume is good. We're picking up a lot more airplanes coming in, and that does translate over to jet, because the popularity shows through in both avgas and jet. And you can see that the clients have been really picking up in jet as well. So Paul's been he's had his aviation line service techs, formerly known as linemen, really kind of running around this past several weeks. It's been really busy out there. Every time I go by or stop in, it seems to be either small jets or turbine aircraft props on board, just wingtip to wingtip, really taking up that ramp. So it's been great. Fall and spring, as you know, are the 2 busy seasons at ARW just because of the temps. They're very favorable for the short runway. So it is showing through, and the folks up at ARW definitely having to run to keep up. They're doing a great job. All right, there's your total fuel flow. Over 19,000 gallons. That we never saw that before. And if you look at that, we've been over 10,000 gallons for the better part of the year, and we just didn't do that. We were always in the 7,000 to 8,000 gallon range for total fuel flow. So Paul's really knocking out of the park up there, and people are being treated well. And when they're treated well in an FBO like that, then they come back and they tell their friends about it, and their friends come. So that's great all around, because as Ian knows, that's more people who are going to downtown Beaufort into our restaurants, shops, meeting with realtors and doing things like that. So that translates into economic impact for the area. So I can't wait for another economic impact study to be done, because I know that previously we're at 12.5 million annual impact for the year, each year up. That was 2017 when that was completed. So I look forward to seeing a new one, because I think that number is going to go up substantially. All right, there's your flight operations too. Those are huge. Look at the year over year on the flight operations. I mean, it's been a busy place. I've already said it. They're doing a great job up there. So give them a pat on the back, and make sure that you're using our airport, because we certainly appreciate it. Okay, over at ARW, a couple big things. I added on to this. We had Gary Davey. You probably know him if you've flown in and out of ARW. Mosquito control mechanic. He just got an award today from the FAA, the Charles Taylor Award, and I made a misspelling there. Sorry for that. 50 years as FAA certified mechanic. So that's pretty amazing. He's one of those timeless guys who we just love seeing around the airport, and he's just been a fixture there for as long as I've been there, and for a lot longer than I've been there. So if you see Gary, give him a pat on the back and congratulate him. There's not many folks who receive that award, so huge honor. We're certainly glad to be a part of that, and to be a home base for mosquito control. So good job for Gary. And then also we had Paul Jernigan recognized this past I guess about a week and a half ago at County Council as one of the employees that the county administrator wanted to recognize. So what Eric's trying to do as administrator is just, bring some employees in front of council and introduce them to council. And I thought there's nobody better from our department than Paul Jernigan. He's been here for a long time. He's our longest serving line tech out of ARW, been there since September of 2008. So he's the guy who kind of leads the training for our new folks. And whenever questions are asked, Paul's the guy who's got the answer. And frankly, in between supervisors out there, between Joel and Paul Dolan, Paul Jernigan is the guy who kept that place running. He did an amazing job to kind of bridge that gap and keep ARW moving along. So if you see Paul, please give him a pat on the back, because he got real nice recognition, not only by the county administrator, but during the meeting, one of the county council members, actually from Hilton Head, Larry McKellen, jumped in and said that he's got several friends who are pilots and no pilots, and they've mentioned Paul by name. They've flown into ARW, and I mentioned Paul Jernigan by name as being, just super helpful, being a great concierge up there. And they have told their friends to come on down and take advantage of the hospitality. So pretty nice when you have people from all over county council kind of recognizing his efforts. So good job for Paul. We've got an awesome team here. If you're not catching on, that's kind of the theme. It's Thanksgiving month, but we're always thankful for these folks. They really do a great job, and often go as young sung heroes. So we're glad to have them on the team. And there he is. There's Mr. Paul. In case you don't know him, now you know what he looks like, so you can go pat him on the back. But definitely a nice opportunity there. And the county administrator actually read the description of what Paul does. And at the end, he said it would have been easier to describe what Paul doesn't do, because it's everything from the concierge and welcoming services to cutting the grass, to fueling the airplanes, to doing safety inspections and everything under the sun. So hats off to Paul. He does a great job. All right, let's jump over across the river to Khxd. Look at those fuel stats. Strong there as well. Okay, busy month for jet. It's been a really, really busy month down here. I don't know if I saw Ben on board the meeting, but he can attest to that. Then you see commercial. Obviously, it's going down a little bit because of the season, but still year over year, still very strong. So looking good there. Total flow is looking good as well. And there's your enplanements and deplanements. Again, you can see the seasonality of this, but still looking pretty good, over 30,000 in the month of October. So we're on track to be over 400,000 total passengers this year. Our previous record was 2019. We had 233,000. So we've almost doubled it again. So there's anybody out there who doesn't think we need a new terminal or more projects at Khxd, maybe you guys can let them know. All right, so there's your total passengers, just about almost 31,000 there. All right, so what's going on over at Khxd? We got some new equipment for the our folks. They got new Jaws of Life. What else? There's something else that came with that kit. I forget what it was, but they had a nice old car. I wish that was a airport car. We could get a new one, but they practiced with one of the folks from the company. Came down to instruct on how to use the tools. Much lighter weight, much easier to use than the old ones that we had. So the crew is certainly happy to have that. It makes them, more responsive. They can get quicker action if they ever have to use those tools. But they had a good time cutting up that car. So good experience for them. Good stress relief too. And this is what the new apron area looks like. So they've got, you can see the ground is cleared and prepped. A lot of what they took out of there is unsuitable material is over by our admin office. So we got a lot of good topsoil over here. So we got to figure out what to do with that. But you can see they're getting close to, they're working on the fence line now, so that once the old fence is down and new fence goes up, then we'll be ready to work on tying in new asphalt and concrete with the existing stuff to start actually building that ramp area. So great projects. Glad to see it. It really opens things up over there, so it's good to see. A little bit of a wet Concord this year. If anybody's around that weekend, we kind of had that nasty cold rain and wind come through, Friday through Sunday morning. So it really kind of put a little bit of a damper on the events over there. They still managed to have the Friday night gala. You can see the big tent that they had set up. So that definitely helped out for them. And even though it was cold, there were a lot of people out there having a good time. But they did not do the Porsche rides up and down the taxiway because of the weather, and also canceled the Saturday Aero Expo, which, as you remember, that's out in that area that we're showing in the picture with cars, motorcycles, airplanes, and definitely not conducive to have vintage aircraft out in that kind of weather. So anyway, we will look forward to next year, and we got the bad weather event out of the way. So now from now on, we should have good weather. That was inside of one of the hangars. Ross Russo opened up his hangar so that folks could have a little bit of dry area. So if you know Ross, give him a pat on the back. He's a huge help here. Every year he gives us a hangar to use. So that's very, very helpful. All right, I think that's all I've got on mine, with the exception of, let's see, the budget has come up. Let me stop sharing the screen. All right, so we're working on the budget again as a team, and the county is actually, they've got a more aggressive budgeting schedule this year. So we're already working on that. We'll have a capital submittal in this month, and then our next submittal, the revenue submittal, is due in January. So we had looked at dates of meeting with the kind of the budget committee, finance folks in January, so the 11th of January. I'm willing to meet earlier if anybody wants to, because we'll have already made our second submittal by then to the county. We can hold January 11th if you want to, or we can back something up to the week of December the 20th if you want to do that. So think about that. Everybody's participating on the budget crew there, and you don't have to tell me right now, but think about it. Maybe by the end of the meeting, if you're ready, you can either tell me or shoot me an email afterwards, and we'll get that scheduled. But I just wanted to let you know, since we do try to get together and talk numbers, we'll do that a little bit earlier this year, or just do it in January, whatever works for you. All right, I think that's all I've got. Let me turn over to Steve for a minute, Steve or Paul. So Steve, if you've got anything to add, I'll let you jump in. If not, we'll hand it over to Paul.
I'll just add something more. Congratulations on our side for Gary and for Paul both. I can't say enough about these two guys. They've been a mainstay at this airport and kept it going for a long time. I've been in and out of Beaufort area for 30 years, and I knew I recognized Gary when he was much younger, but he was here then, and he's still here, and he's still going. So good job to Gary. And again, welcome. If you guys get a chance to email Natalie, welcome Natalie. to our team. She's already just helping me out tremendously. I'm sure she is with John as well. So that's all I had to add.
All right, Paul, you got anything?
Not really. Just we are starting the terminal upgrade very, very soon. We ran into a last minute paperwork snafu, and that should be remedied, I hope, by the end of today. If not today, definitely tomorrow. And hopefully we'll start seeing some dust on the floor and holes in the walls and progress from there. But like John said, this airport has been extremely busy. I've been out there where while guys are fueling airplanes, I'm pushing other airplanes back to the back row so I can park King Airs and everything else. And so if you get a chance to stop by out here and see the action, it's pretty exciting to see. So.
All right, thanks, guys. Appreciate that. All right, Mr. Chairman, I will turn it back over to you.
Okay, thank you, Director. Unfinished business. Is there any unfinished business that we need to discuss? All right, good. Then we go back to new business, and that's back to our Director, John. Any new business, John?
Well, we'll jump into the action items from here,
Okay.
Trey. You got this in your backup packages as well. So if anybody wants me to share my screen and show the CIP list, I can do that if you don't have it handy. Does anybody need me to share the screen? Okay. Because what I like to do is just get a vote on both of those CIP lists. If you remember, those are the 5-year look ahead plans for the FAA. First 2 years are usually pretty solid, and then it gets a little bit, not fuzzy, but a little bit less solid, in years 3 through 5, because things do change. And of course, FAA funding sometimes changes too. But this is our best shot at it. And this is what we're looking at for the next few years. You'll see that most everything is focused on the runways at both airports. That's where we are. I mean, they are the lifeblood, and both of them are very busy, and they're going to need some work in the next couple of years. So we're going to focus on those and make sure that we can keep the level of activity up and steady at the airports. So if there's any questions on the CIP list, I'll be happy to take those.
John, Chris, just so I want to completely understand, this is strictly on a repavement, not an extension of the runway, correct? On this starting of looking at that 5-year program.
That's correct.
Okay.
All right. Well, if that's the case, then we'll go to item number 10, Beaufort Executive Airport. As John mentioned, the CIP, which is Capital Improvement Program. We need to take a vote on that for approval. If anybody's got any questions or comments for John, now is the time. If anybody, so I'll open up the floor to that. If not, then we'll ask for a motion to approve the Airport Capital Improvement Program for ARW Beaufort Executive Airport. All right, no questions. Can I have a motion for the floor to approve that? Howard motions. I need a second. Chris, I'll take a second from Chris. All in favor say aye or wave your hand. All opposed say no or give me a thumbs down. All right, so it has passed. That is approved by majority. Next is the Hilton Head Airport Khxd Airport Capital Improvement Program. Again, if there's any questions or comments for John, I'll open up the floor now. All right, then we'll open up the floor for a motion to approve the Airport Capital Improvement Program. And motions, I need a second. Leslie seconds. All in favor, do so by saying aye or wave. All right, and all opposed say nay or a thumbs down. The ayes carry it, so that is approved also. John, do you want to talk about the American Rescue Plan Act, or do we just want to take a vote on that?
Well, I can give you a quick background if you want to know what that is. If you remember back in, I think it was the end of March or probably the April of 2020 board meeting way back, we received the CARES Act grant money, which was COVID relief money. And then last year, in I think the February, March time frame, we received the Carissa, which was, they told us not to call it CARES 2, but it was basically CARES 2. And then in last January, this past January 2021, the American Rescue Plan Act came out, and that was the next, $1 trillion they decided to throw at the pandemic, and that had an airport component of it as well. That was something that the FAA asked us to hold off on. They actually offered it to us way back in like May or June, and asked us to hang on until after the turn of the fiscal year because they were crazy busy with all the other relief grants as well as AIP grants. So we waited till the end of the fiscal year, turned over, and now ready to apply for the ARPA grant. So that's another grant. Basically covers the same things as CARES and Carissa did, and that's operations, personnel costs, cleaning, sanitization, basically everything short of an AIP project. So no development projects, but everything else kind of goes. This one also has a concessionaire relief component of it, which is about $95,000. So that's something that I'll have to pick apart and figure out how we deal with that, because I know that's going to have some strict rules on how you do that. But basically, that gives some relief to the rental car folks, another concessions group, parking, things like that at an airport who may have been affected by COVID as well. So that's on the HXD side, and then there's a small grant for general aviation airports as well. So we'll benefit a little bit financially over at ARW as well. So that's what this is. It's been to county council. Just from a timing standpoint, again, it's a little bit backwards, but it went to committee on Monday evening, passed unanimously through committee. So we're ready to go. I just wanted to bring it before the airports board and have y'all review and approve as well.
All right, thank you, John. So we'll begin with KARW Beaufort Executive, application for American Rescue Plan Act grant funds. If anybody's got any questions or comments, now's the time. I'll open the floor for that. All right, then I'll ask for a motion to approve this and take a vote. Need a motion from the floor.
Okay.
Howard, second. Chris, I think you made. Good. Take a vote. All in favor, either say aye or raise your hand. All opposed, either no or thumbs down. All right, the ayes have it. That is approved. We'll move on to the Hilton Head Island Airport KHXD application for American Rescue Plan Act grants. We'll go ahead and ask for a open the floor for any questions or comments. We'll go ahead and take a motion to approve. Motion from the floor. Ann, thank you. Second. Chris, seconds. A lot of seconds today, Chris. Thank you. So we'll take a vote. All in favor, say aye or give me a wave. All opposed, say no or thumbs down. All right, the ayes have it. That's approved also. Thank you. There was no request for, we'll move on to committee chairman updates. I'll just go through the list real quick. Finance Committee, Howard Ackerman. Howard, do you have anything? Go ahead, Howard, you have the floor.
Yeah, quick response to John's budget meeting, and Ann is here, and Chris on the budget committee for the council for our group. Brian is not, but this December 20th work, and Chris. Yes, on a Chris. Ann?
Yep, that should work for me, Howard.
Okay. Ann, how about you?
What date did you say again?
December 20th. That's the pre-rain date. We have an alternate of January 11th as a rain date.
I think I'm going to be out of action. I'm having rotator cuff surgery.
Oh, lucky you.
Yeah, I know.
All right, I'll find out from Brian, and John, I will get back to you as soon as I have a definitive answer. No other material from the budget committee.
Thank you, Howard. We'll move on to communication marketing. Jim and Brian are not at the meeting, but Leslie is. Leslie, do you have anything to report for the communications and marketing?
No, not at this time.
Thank you. And also we'll stay with you, Leslie, Passenger Service Committee. Any comments or?
Not at this time.
Okay. Thank you. Chris, we'll go to you. ARW Facilities Use and Improvement. I know we briefly talked about the FBO update. I don't know if you got any other information. You have the floor,
No,
Chris.
I think Paul's got anything, No, the question I would ask on the holdup, is it possibly a county permit?
It is county paperwork. Yes, that is the.
All right, good.
That's all
And
for me.
Howard, we'll go back to you for General Aviation Improvement Committee. Any updates or comments on that?
No committee report this month.
Yep. And John covered pretty much everything for us, so thank you, John. All right, now we'll go to citizen comments. And I'm not sure the difference between public comment and citizen comments, but if you consider yourself a citizen and not a public, we'll go ahead and open up the floor to citizen comments. Again, we ask that you limit any comments to 3 minutes. If you need more than 3 minutes, just ask, and I'm sure the board will consider that. Any citizen comments now? Go ahead, you have the floor. Just introduce yourself. Wow, John, things are running good. All right, we'll just do an open floor to the board. If anybody's got any other updates or comments now, we'll open, just raise your hand.
I do, Trey. Could you give us an update, or maybe John could give us an update on any ground lease prospects over at ARW?
John or Chris or Paul?
I can give you a slight update. Paul will have something else. I was doing some research on it, trying to run some numbers just from my personal standpoint. Paul will have it from the others. The price of metal buildings has gone up 300%. And that's not an exaggeration, which has made it difficult to make numbers work. And I'm not, when I say that, I don't mean because the ground lease is too high. That's the minimal part. It's literally what you have to charge for rent in the hangars to make it work. From my standpoint, Paul can give a different update. I know he's working with some other guys as well.
Yeah, that's a good point, Chris. And I mean, just in the construction industry that I'm in, availability, materials, lead times, it's become very frustrating. So I'm sure the doors, which are the most expensive part of the hangars, as we all know, they're probably up 400%. And there's a lot going on out there. So the people that are in line, they're getting them first. So, David, I just see you came on. You missed some of the public comment. Do you have any comments, David? We'll give the floor to you.
No, not at this time. Thank you.
Thank you.
So Trey, is based on you and Chris and the discussions, is the issue kind of tabled for now on the ground lease issue, waiting for prices and availability to change, or is it still live and we're just looking for materials and supply?
I do know one of the customers that was looking at it, the group that was going to do the hangar and the museum and all that. I know that it was just a money issue. I just don't think they had the money they thought they had. Paul, I do know we came out and did some soil borings. Is that correct?
Yes, they did come out and do some soil samples in the areas that they're interested in building a hangar. The guy that was kind of ramrodding it had to go back to Pittsburgh for a couple of weeks. So we're actually waiting on the results from the soil testing, and they should have some preliminary numbers on what it's going to cost them after that. And I'm pretty sure they're going to try to press forward with that once they get the numbers solidified.
Okay. And Paul, I know we were doing some work over there tying the sewer line in. Did that get completed? Can you update everybody on the sewer line tie-in?
The sewer line has been tied in, and they have regraded that and reseeded that part of the property, and it's actually coming up pretty good. And then also the generator project, for the money that we got for a generator from FEMA, it's 50% complete. We have a generator attached to the building that if the power goes out, we will have runway lighting. And that generator comes on automatically. And then the other generator that FEMA bought us, we're waiting on a part to be able to tie that in to power the rest of the airport for in case the power goes out for that.
And how about an update on your LED lighting for the hangars? I know that you bought the lights. I think I saw some old ones laying around. Can you give us an update on that?
All of the hangars except for one have new interior LED lighting installed. The one hangar that doesn't, the hangar door is broken. And I've been trying to get the company up here from Florida to fix that hangar door so we can get a lift in there and fix that one light. But all the other hangars do have the new LED lighting installed.
Well, I'm sure, and I'm saying this lovingly, our hangar rats over there, I'm sure nobody has said thank you after all the years of, of complaining.
They're a huge improvement. They're an absolute huge improvement.
Thank you, Paul.
You're very welcome.
They can find their food source a little easier now with the lights. So nice job.
These rats walk on two legs and fly old planes.
I have another question for John on
Go ahead,
ground.
Howard.
John, at the appropriate time, would you also consider a ground lease opportunity for HXD? The county has a whole bunch of property that's at the moment unused over there.
Well, we don't have a whole bunch of property, and no, we're not entertaining ground leases right now.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so I'll skip the adjournment and just make the announcement. The next meeting will be held Thursday, December 16th, 2021. That is a week or so before Christmas, so it sounds like we will be able to get that meeting in, finish up the year. If you see that you're not going to be available, how about get some emails going to Natalie and to John or myself. There's no reason for everybody to take time to meet if we're not going to have a quorum. But let's plan on the next meeting Thursday, December 16th, 2021, 1:30 p.m. That will be a virtual meeting again to finish up the year. I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving. Enjoy your family and food and friends next week. And that being said, I'll ask for an adjournment. Do we have to do a motion to adjourn, or do we just adjourn? I forget.
I usually do a motion.
I'll file a motion to adjourn. Leslie, do I have a second? And second. So thank you all very much. The meeting's adjourned. Again, happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Thank you, John.
Thank you.